jobs in Detroit. Obviously, we're about making those jobs union jobs, but he was instrumental in what's going on in Detroit, the evolution, the revolution, the reinvention of Detroit, as well as the increase in the job market, people wanting to come to Detroit to film. He's knee-deep in it, and he's committed to Detroit, and we appreciate what he's doing because it's helping our membership and it's helping our local unions here in the Metro Detroit area. So it's my pleasure to bring our first guest speaker up here, Mayor Mike Duggan.
Start by saying thank you for the Teamsters endorsement for my re-election. I'm continuing to push the same thing that I pushed 4 years ago, which I just believe jobs and opportunity would come back to this city far faster if people work together. You remember when the mayor was fighting with the unions, the mayor was fighting with Lansing, the mayor was fighting with the council. And people looked at Detroit and said, why would I even want to be there? Now, my first few years, I was doing things that most cities don't have to worry about. I had to get the street lights on. You know, you go to Chicago, the lights come on at night, nobody calls up and says, hey, it was a great night, the lights came on. We have to get past the point where the street lights coming on, the grass getting cut in the parks, the ambulances showing up are something that you celebrate. But it took the kinds of things that you would know. I mean, ambulances at times took an hour to get there. What was the problem? Not enough vehicles, not enough preventive maintenance on the vehicles we had, not enough EMTs, not an efficient dispatch system. Now our ambulances show up at a 911 call at 8 minutes, which is the national standard. But I spent the first few years just trying to get the city bureaucracy to deliver on the basics. Now we're able to move to thinking about what do we want this city to be, and that's all about opportunity. And it's pretty exciting to see what's happening. 2 weeks ago we broke ground on the largest auto plant that's been started in Detroit in 20 years, the Flexingate plant on the I-94 corridor on the east side. Going to be up to 700 jobs. They're going to build front ends for the Ford Broncos. We are pushing the movie industry. Adrian Tonone has been assigned from our staff to be a liaison for anybody that wants to make a movie here. Spending a fair amount of time right now in the Gordie Howe Bridge, which is important to all of us. And the last big piece is they need a lot of City of Detroit property. I'm 100% in favor of this bridge, but you understand, we've got exit ramps that are going to be built 30 feet in the air over people's homes in southwest Detroit. And basically they would said, close your windows. That to me wasn't a particularly acceptable answer. And so I said, look, if we're going to do that, we got to give people an option to move someplace else in Detroit, or we got to soundproof new windows and central air so they can soundproof their homes. We're getting close to an agreement, as well as an agreement that a significant number of jobs will come to people on this side of the border. Because, you know, the Canadians are going to build this thing. We have to make sure by contract that we have those rights. But when you look at things like Amazon and the like, and everything that we're talking about, the number of warehousing operations coming here, here's the biggest thing. It doesn't matter whether you're in Western Wayne or Oakland or Macomb County. If you went around the country, even around the world, and tried to land your business operations here, first thing they say, what about Detroit? Your city's in bankruptcy, your mayor's going to jail. And this is the stuff, it was hard to get people to invest. Now, I get on a plane with Rick Snyder and spend 5 days in China. And they're excited to talk about what's happening in Detroit. And when I really realized how much of an impact it had, every time I get a bill to the legislature with Republican support, these Republicans say, well, you come out and speak to my chamber of commerce in my town. So I've been to Marquette, I've been to Traverse City, I've been to Brighton, I've been to some cities I've never heard of before to speak to their groups. But 2 weeks ago, I went to Mount Pleasant for their Chamber of Commerce breakfast. About 600 people showed up for the breakfast here in Detroit and Mount Pleasant. And when I do these things before, people would come up and say to me, I was born in Detroit. My father is from Detroit. I had relatives in Detroit. This time there was a long line of people after the breakfast to talk to me. My son just moved to Detroit. My niece is working in Detroit. My daughter is graduating college. She wants a job in Detroit. And it's interesting the way the rest of the state is starting to look at us, because for years, our young people have grown up and said, I gotta get out of Michigan to get opportunity and jobs, and we've watched our kids leave for a long time. Now, people from across Michigan are saying, my kids want to be in Detroit, they could stay in the state. We could have economic opportunity here. We've got nearly 5,000 residential units, including right down the street, the old Checker cab company. You ever think the Checker cab company turned into houses? You've got, these guys figured this out. The Checker cab building is basically a parking garage. And they said, how are we going to turn this in? And then they realized, well, you know, if we built our apartments on one side and we left the ramps on the other side, people could drive up the ramps and park right next to their apartments. And so you're seeing people reuse property in ways we never thought. So with folks moving back and the city starting to be an asset, I think there's going to be more and more opportunities. And I know that this city has a history of conflict, but I'm going now halfway through my 4th year. I've yet to veto a resolution of the Detroit City Council. When in your lifetime? It's not like there's not strong personalities on that council, but we get in a room, we hammer the things out, because we realize if we're bickering in public, we're saying to anybody who's looking to invest, this is a place that behaves in a childish way. And so Brenda Jones and the City Council, we've got some very loud private meetings, but publicly, you've never seen us attack each other. And this is what's going to continue if we get through this election. So I wanted to come by this morning and say thank you for your support, and I don't know if I've used up my time. I've got time to answer a question or two. But I don't want to disrupt your business meeting here. Anybody have anything they want to talk about? Yes, sir.
I got one. What about the insurance?
It is ridiculous, isn't it?
Yes.
This car insurance is the biggest scandal in this state. And here's what happened. The state passes the no-fault law in 1973. It says now you cannot drive a car in Michigan unless you buy no-fault insurance. Vast majority of states do not have this rule. But they thought they get the lawyers out of this. That was what no-fault was going to do, because if you get in an accident, you don't need any lawyers. Your own insurance company covers you. Well, all you got to do is drive around and see all the billboards. Been in a car accident, call me to know it's been completely perverted. And here's the problem. In 1973, as you know, I used to be in the hospital business. In the 1970s, doctors and hospitals could charge you whatever they wanted. It was called charges. And you just paid it because, God, doctors save your life. You're paying whatever they want. Well, over the years, HMOs, PPOs, and everything have gotten to the point where all of the rates are negotiated. But we still have a law from 73 that says doctors and hospitals can charge you whatever they want. And so if you go home and look at your insurance bill today, the biggest part of your insurance bill is not collision for accidents, it's not that. Almost half of your bill is something called PIP, personal injury protection. It's your health care. And and so here's what happens on the healthcare side. Because there's this old law, if you were to fall off a ladder and need to go in for an MRI today, you're covered, Blue Cross, Health Alliance plan, whatever you have. If you were on Medicare, that MRI, the doctor and clinic would pay $500. If you were on Blue Cross would pay that same doctor and clinic $600. So those doctors are always happier to see that Blue Cross card. But if you came in on car insurance, that doctor and clinic are paid $3,100. Same MRI, same office, because of this law. And the doctors and the hospitals have figured this out. There is more and more charges because they're being paid triple all the way along. When the lawyers figured this out, the lawyers now, and you saw this article in the Free Press, if you get in a car accident, you'll have 5 people call you saying, hey, were you hurt? You say, no, it's a little fender bender. Come on in, let us show you the benefits. That's what all these billboards are about. The lawyers are suing and taking a third of the medical bills. Well, hell, the hospital gets $3,000 for the MRI, the lawyer takes a third, the hospital still has $2,000. Everybody is making money, and here's what should really piss you off. If you have health care coverage today, you're already covered. If you've been in an accident, your health care coverage would have covered you. By making you pay it on your car insurance, you're being double charged. And that's what's driving up your bills. Think about if you're a senior citizen on Medicare. In the other 49 states, when senior citizens get in a car accident, Medicare pays for everything. In Michigan, nearly half of the seniors' premiums are paying for health care when they've already got Medicare. And it's because the doctors and the hospitals and lawyers are making money. So, we are going to push this bill in the fall. The Speaker of the House, Tom Leonard, is a Tea Party Republican. He and I don't agree on anything in the world except one thing. Car insurance in this state is ridiculous. And if you insured your car in Ohio today, it's $900. If you're in the suburbs, on average, it's $1,700, and in Detroit, on average, it's $3,400. So everybody's being ripped off, but all those billboards and ads for the lawyers, they are targeting Detroiters more frequently, and it's driving up our rates. So we've got a bill. We're going to push it really hard. The governor's behind it. We need to get our Detroit legislators behind it, because a lot of them are very close to these lawyers and these doctors. But I think we're going to get it done. So this fall, we've got a package. It's going to be in, and we're going to be asking for you to help come to Lansing and lobby with us. So this is the year. Yes, sir.
Mike, Joe Carpenter, City Amtrak, was former councilman there and Teamsters for 37 years. The better your city does, the way better my city does, because we are surrounded by the city of Detroit. So hats off to you. Keep it going. Good luck.
Thank you very much.
You know, we make plans in the budget for further on, maybe it's a state issue, or people come in from the out there, or the seating conditions on any floor, the overpass, they really look bad. You know, the rest, especially because a lot of visitors from and their first vision of Detroit, what's in the Dearborn is a mess.
Yeah, you know,
On I-94.
they built that kind of art structure, whatever you call it, that was the effort. I don't know that it was the best approach, but so what has happened is the governor and we have brought our transportation teams in, and you have the city roads team and the state road team, and we want to have a single vision for how we do it. You know, you got all the state roads, you know, Woodward and Gratiot, you got to remember our state roads. We got the city roads. You try to manage the traffic jams. There's no connection between our streetlights. We're actually moving the state and city traffic management into one place. And the other thing that we're doing is exactly what you're saying, a beautification strategy that says it's as simple as this. We cut the medians in the city streets every 10 days. The state does it every 3 weeks. I call the governor up and say, you want to come look at Woodward, where you guys are supposed to be cutting the grass, and you're always lecturing me about service. And so the governor has got us with teams in place, and that I-94 corridor, how we do it together, what's the state's role, what's our role, is something that we're talking about, and I agree with you 100%. It is the
Anybody
approach.
talk about widening I-94, because I know it's been talked around for like 15 years.
Yeah, I don't know that there's talk about widening it as much as, you know, I just assume, in fact, if you drive, and this is something that's small that you probably don't notice, but drive on the freeways in the city now, you almost, from our freeways, cannot see graffiti or cannot see an abandoned house. Because we went through the city and demolished, as best we can, every abandoned building you could see from the freeway, and removed every bit of graffiti. Over signs too. I got MDOT to do the signs because I was doing the rest of it. But you get a lot of people, they drive in for a ball game. The only impression in Detroit is what they see on the freeway. What you see from the freeway is abandoned houses and graffiti. So I'll tell you one last story before I let you get back. But I went to land just up the street from here, the Lightweight Metal Institute, $150 million investment where they take the latest research in making lightweight metals for cars and ships and trucks and the like and put them into place, and they were going to land it somewhere in the Midwest. I had a place on 12th Street that was a great location. We thought we had it. The guy came in, he's from Columbus, Ohio, of all places. And when we finished, I showed him everything. I said, I meant every spec you want. Why are you not excited about this? He says, I gotta tell you, driving in, I saw all those gang signs graffitied on the overpasses. And it makes me wonder whether we even want to be here. And so you're right. Now I convinced him that they weren't gang signs, that they were suburbanites coming in and having fun, which is what they were. But But he was thinking, hell, if you got that kind of graffiti on your overpass, your city's out of control. We gotta fix that stuff. So I paid a lot of attention to it, and I'm gonna keep paying attention to it. All right? Thank you all very much.
All right, as you heard Mayor Duggan say, the Teamsters have endorsed him. We have a process through our joint council with the local unions get together and ultimately